Right now, in my living room, I have an ultra short throw projector paired with a 120-inch ALR screen. It's ridiculous, and I know it. And so I thought nothing, absolutely nothing, would ever top that, especially if it meant downgrading screen size. And today, well, I'm here to say I was wrong. I've spent the last few months with the Valerion VisionMaster Pro 2 projector, and I have to say, from the very first time I've turned it on, I've been blown away by the image it produces. I've always thought that my UST projector was absolutely amazing, especially since it manages a 120-inch image just inches away from the wall. But this new projector puts it to shame in almost every area possible. And it does that by hitting on three specific areas: connectivity, black levels, and ease of use. Plus, it has a trick up its sleeve I've never seen in a projector at this price. And here's a hint to that trick. This projector shouldn't even work in my home. It's a long throw projector, and my home is not compatible with long throw projectors. We'll get into how Valerion pulled that off in just a minute, but first, let's take a look at the projector. The design that Valerion chose to go with is, well, unique. Out of the box, I didn't really care for it much, but it's kind of grown on me. I like the lines that run across the top. They kind of remind me of an old Atari, but I also appreciate that they're chrome, which gives that a bit of a modern look. But at the end of the day, this is just a great big heavy cube, and because of all this glossy glassness, it's also a fingerprint magnet, dust and hair collector. It doesn't look that great if you don't keep it clean constantly. The good news is it's also kind of a subtle look that melts into the background, and that's kind of what you want out of a projector. You don't want to spend your time staring at the equipment, you want to spend your time staring at the screen. And something bold and bombastic or glowy would be distracting from what you want out of the projector: content viewing. On the bottom of the projector, you'll find an adjustable kickstand, which actually is a rare miss for this projector in my opinion. Other projectors at a similar price come with a gimbal stand, which makes aiming at your screen a lot easier. And on the back, you'll find a magnetic cover that reveals the first area the VisionMaster Pro 2 nails things: connectivity. Here you'll find 3 HDMI ports, one with eARC support, a couple of USB ports, an optical audio port, and an Ethernet port. And if you don't have Ethernet handy, it also includes Wi-Fi 6, which is future-proof enough for most people. Basically, you can easily hook up anything you want to go with this projector and get going. But, and we'll talk about this more later, you almost don't have to. But how many ports you have and how the projector looks isn't anywhere near as important as the image it produces. And I'm happy to say this projector puts out one of the most beautiful images I have ever seen, even under less than ideal circumstances. The very first time I turned on this projector, I actually beamed it right at an ultra short throw projector screen that's meant to have its image beamed up from an extreme angle, so less than ideal by far. And yet, immediately, I could see the difference between this and my ultra short throw projector's image, in part because Valerion has used some custom algorithms to create enhanced black levels. That's usually a falling point for most projectors because of the way they work. Instead of having pixels come from behind a device, or just turning off the pixels entirely in the case of OLED screens, you are projecting light at a surface, whether it's a screen or a wall. And since all of your image is light in different colors, the one thing you realistically cannot project is actual black. Because black isn't really a color per se, it's more the absence of light. So most projectors, instead of putting out a true inky, dark black like an OLED screen can provide, give you a kind of an off-ish gray that is, almost Lego Batman acceptable, but not really black. This still can't produce true black, but gosh, if it's not the darkest grays that are practically black I have ever seen come out of a projector. And yet somehow, with its contrast levels, and I'll stick some stats on the screen for you to see, it produces details that I have never seen come out of my ultra short throw projector. And when you can finally see dark scenes in movies and actually understand what you're looking at, the difference is just mind-boggling. Now, Valerion has included some things like AI enhancements that can help detect scenes and turn things this way and that to make it even better. And I have noticed the difference when I've turned that on. I really notice the difference if I turn enhanced black levels on and off. Altogether, it kind of works really well to produce something that's kind of cinema grade at a lifestyle projector pricing. And on top of that, you can get a really large screen image out of this. I've been using this with a 100-inch long throw projector screen that's also ALR, but this can actually produce up to a 300-inch screen. I can't test that, of course, because that would require some sort of McMansion that I'm never going to afford in my life. But the fact that I can actually use this at all is pretty impressive. And that trick, though, is part of what makes this so incredibly easy to use. And that's the third area this thing excels in. Its ease of use is frankly next level. A lot of that is down to some great choices on what Valerion decided to include in this projector right out of the box, right down to its operating system. This runs a true Google TV OS, not an older Android TV OS, but proper Google TV OS, which means it's pretty up to date and it gives you access to just about any streaming service you want, plus some handy apps along the way. You probably already have a Google account. Sign in, all your preferences come over. You probably have Netflix, Prime, etc. It has all of that, from Hulu to HBO Max. For once, you don't need to take up one of your usually not enough ports, but in this case, actually enough ports to stick in another device like a Roku or, well, a Google TV casting stick. It's already built in and connected to this nice premium feeling remote. Now, I do have to say something about this point. As noted on the back of my remote, this is all an engineering sample, and what you buy might look a little bit different. And I wish I had the true consumer one, but assuming this is really close to what you're gonna get, this is honestly one of the nicer projector remotes, heck, one of the nicer TV remotes I've ever handled, in part because it feels nice and solid and like it's metal, even though I don't think it is. I think the sides are a bit of metal, but the back is definitely kind of a plastic, but it just feels good in the hand. There's no creak or anything. The shortcut buttons are pretty useful. There's YouTube, Netflix, Disney Plus, and Prime Video. I think most people are probably gonna have at least 3, if not all of those. The buttons light up when you use them, and there's only what you kind of need there and not really any extra fluff besides maybe the AI button. If you don't care about the AI stuff, it's not going to do you any good. But it's great. My only complaint about this remote is that it is infrared. So you either need to have it pointed at the projector or fairly close to it, or you need some kind of repeating system to get to it. Or throw it out entirely, use a stereo system, because again, you do have HDMI ports on here and that optical audio, which makes it an excellent system to plug into a stereo. But I like that you don't have to. You really don't, because this thing has speakers built in. How good they sound depend on, well, you. I think they sound pretty okay. They don't have much bass. They don't have much full room sound, in my opinion. On the other hand, when I said that to my wife, she disagreed entirely and said, they sound great. I don't know what you're complaining about. And that's despite the fact that in our living room, we do have a 7.1 surround system that, when it works correctly, I need to rewire it. It has bass and subwoofer and center channel and all the glorious goodness. But think about it for a moment. If you don't have any of that, if you don't want to spend extra on a soundbar after you've spent a lot on a projector, you're good to go. Especially consider the fact that this is a $3,000 projector. Yeah, it's expensive, but you're probably not done. You're probably going to want to buy a screen too, and those can run up to $2,000 easily. So after you've already spent $5,000 on just getting your image, do you really want to spend more to get your audio? I might argue, yes, because you've spent this much already, why not spend more? But if you just don't, or if you want to put off that purchase till later, the built-in speakers are really good. And you know what else is really good? Setting this thing up. I mean, seriously, it really is. This has auto keystone and optical focus, which is, spoiler alert, is the trick I've been talking about for a while. Auto keystone is really nice in that you can plunk this thing down, have it check the screen, and it will try to adjust your keystone into it. In fact, there's even a mode in here where you can plunk this thing down, have it look at the screen, find the borders, and then automatically shrink the image to fit exactly inside the screen. With my ultra short throw projector, which is so close and beaming so fast, I have to spend so much time getting the placement just right and then adjust the corners because it's trapezoidal and it's just a pain in the butt. Sit this thing down, tell it find my screen, and it will automatically resize everything as needed to fit the screen perfectly. Of course, there is a problem with that. Anytime you shrink the image, you're not really properly getting the image to fit the screen correctly. You're reducing the overall pixel count of what's being sent out. So you're no longer getting that true, amazing 4K image. And that's where optical zoom comes in. I don't think I've ever seen optical zoom on a projector at this price level before. They might exist in the $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 projectors, but not half that price. And optical zoom is what it sounds like. When you want to, you can tell the image to be optically shrunk down. The lens shrinks the whole thing. Instead of just digitally cutting out and shrinking, you are actually reducing the entire footprint of the image to fit your screen. That's amazing because you can finally adjust things without losing resolution. And that also means this thing can work from closer distances than any long throw projector has any business being able to work. I live in a one-story ranch style house with not the highest ceilings in the world. It was built in the 70s. It was not designed for, well, even big TVs, let alone projection systems. It's literally the worst case scenario, including great big windows in my living room that just make things way too bright for projectors. And somehow this works in my house. I didn't think you'd ever get a long throw projector in my house, but thanks to that optical zoom capability, I can bring it much closer to the wall and still manage to get the full 100-inch screen experience. I can even get the 120-inch screen if I get it all the way across the room, but it works, and no other long throw projector can do that in my home. So this opens up a whole new world of possibilities because while ultra short throw projectors are more convenient in my home, they will never, ever produce an image like this thing can. So think about it for a moment. That opens up a whole new world of possibility. The VisionMaster Pro is a projector you could take with you somewhere, set anywhere you want, nearly anywhere you want anyways, in a room or outside, beam directly at any surface you have available as long as it's relatively flat and unobstructed, and it will produce an image that will look good even in bright daylight, but nighttime or darkness would be better. And as long as you can get connected to Wi-Fi, give you a full-fledged operating system that will let you get to your streaming service. Basically, as long as you ignore the weight, and it is kind of heavy, this might be one of the most amazing portable-ish projectors you could take anywhere. It will wow any crowd, any family gathering, anywhere you go with how amazing it looks. Whether it be an outdoor backyard party or an indoor streaming palooza with some friends, basically, you could practically outdo any TV available, especially if you manage to pull off that 300-inch screen size. I almost think that was Valerion's intention all along because it comes with this nice case that is, well, big and protective and fits this and the power cord in nicely so you can take it somewhere complete with a handle, and not worry about dropping it and breaking it. No extra cost for this. It's included with the admittedly pretty high $3,000 price. Now, it's not perfect, of course. I'm still a little miffed that it doesn't come with a gimbal stand like other projectors in its price level. They do sell one online, but that means you'll spend even more. They also sell other stands, including one that lets you hang it from the ceiling, and another one that looks wood and will blend into your living room quite nicely. But again, those are things you'll have to spend extra for, so you'll have to count that into your overall buying form factor. On top of that, as much as I love the auto keystone, I kind of hate it too, because by default, the auto keystone is meant to automatically do the work if it gets even ever so slightly adjusted or bumped, which is really easy to do if you don't have a dedicated standard. You don't hang it from the ceiling. While that might be great when you take it somewhere, it's not so great when you've got it on a basic flat surface stand in your living room and someone accidentally just bumps it a little bit and the whole thing has to stop and reformat itself, and sometimes it doesn't even work. Thankfully, you can turn that off in settings. So get this thing set perfectly, turn off the automated keystone that fires off when it detects any movement. And there is no ignoring the fact that yes, this is an expensive projector. It's $3,000. The 100-inch screen that is somehow a long throw ambient light projecting screen, that's a first for me, is another $2,000. So you can easily spend $5,000 on just the most beautiful image you will ever see in your life. But it's still a lot of money, right? And you still probably want to buy a sound system if you don't already have one. Maybe start with a sound bar with a subwoofer. I'll link one below. But when you get down to it, you can just as easily spend $5,000 on a great big huge TV that will have its own great big huge problems, like what TV stand will fit that, or how are you going to hang that on the wall? And it has terrible speakers, and the screen is reflective in this room, so now you can only see the window against it, like what happens in my living room since I have a great big window in my viewing area. This solves that, by the way. No option is perfect, but darn if this isn't really amazing. So amazing that I'm just left torn, because it's not ideal to project this at my 120-inch screen. For one, where I have to put it isn't great. For two, the screen isn't meant for this kind of projector, so it's not its best image possible. But it still looks better than my ultra short throw projector. What do? Do I stop using my ultra short throw projector and somehow figure out how to make this work and enjoy an even better image? Or do I stick with what I have? That is ultimately the question you'll always have to ask yourself as well. Do you have a perfectly good TV or projection system? You probably don't need to upgrade to this. But if you're ready to upgrade and you want what might be the absolute best lifestyle, affordable-ish, they get way more expensive than this, projector possible, this might be the one. There are some other competitors out there. XGimme's doing some good things, but I don't know. I was blown away by this. And I didn't even mention gaming, because did you know you can game on this? Now, again, it doesn't have the ultra super low lag times of a lot of gaming TVs out there, but its lag time is not that bad. It's perfectly doable for something that's a story-driven game like Spider-Man, and it even works well enough for something like Rocket League. It's not that I don't feel the lag time in there, I do, but it's that I can tolerate the lag time in there, and that's really incredible out of a projector that is giving you a true 4K experience. And if you downgrade to 1080p, you'll get even better lag time results. There's a gaming mode on here that will even boost it up to those stats that we've just posted up there, and it's tolerable. Not saying perfect, not saying as amazing as a TV could possibly be, but tolerable. And that's really darn impressive for a projector. So if you're wondering what would I do at this point if I needed a new projector right now, would I buy this one? Yeah, I actually would, because I can't believe that it works in my house, for one. That optical zoom is no joke. And I can't believe the black levels this puts out for another. They really almost step up to the point of mini LED technology. Not OLED, but mini LED technology. And I never thought a projector would ever be able to do that. And on top of that, the operating system is good and it's potentially portable. It's definitely more portable than my 80-inch TV in my bedroom. I think this might be my next projector. That is, unless I get a chance to try out the VisionMaster Max, which is supposed to be even better. I'm gonna try and get my hands on one and we'll find out. That's it for this week though. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you stuck around this long, you must have seen something you like, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And until next time, bye.